If you
No, you don't have to sing it.
About a cripple.
No, we're not talking about cripples this time.
And now it's time for Awkward Conversations with Dan.
It's part of the show where Dan comes out and has an awkward conversation.
With a cripple.
Two.
Welcome to the Becoming Not One House podcast, everyone. Today, as you can see, is a very special episode, number one, because we have Justin here, and also because we have Dan, but he's been on a podcast a few times before.
I'm not that special anymore.
He talks about sports and stuff.
We'll get there.
Anyway, as you can see, we are in a different space. This is going to be our studio that we record these in eventually, my office. We are in this today because we didn't want to make Justin go downstairs.
Down's easy, it's the back up.
Well,
gravity helps with the down.
I also didn't want your wheelchair to break if Dan was trying to carry it down the stairs and happened to fall. And then also potentially break himself, I suppose. He is kind of that age.
Of that age. Well, I was going to make a three guys walk into a church joke, but I didn't know. I guess that's complicated.
Anyway, talking about awkward conversations, we are in a half-finished room in general. So let's get started. Dan, I think you're probably going to lead this.
It's already awkward, so we're off to a good start. But thanks for letting me come back on with another awkward conversation. You two are actually the reason I need extra security after church. To protect me from the
say therapy.
Extra therapy when
Probably that.
Yeah. But no, I need the extra security to protect me from the property team because you guys made them do all that extra work. I'm afraid Paul Kaus is going to hide my stuff in a room that I've never heard of or that I didn't even know existed. So
there are plenty of those, but
right.
We can blow holes in the door. There we go.
Well, that's when Paul's going to start hiding our stuff. So Paul, don't touch our stuff. But anyway, so this time, the awkward conversation, stuff Justin and I talked about on Sunday, is a conversation around the fact that God allows bad things to happen. And that's a statement, not a question. We're not asking why does God allow bad things to happen and attempting a poor answer to that question. We're just making that statement. So we're going to look at some hard stuff. We're going to kind of sit in the tension. Justin's going to share parts of his story and how he learned to navigate the reality of God allowing bad stuff to happen.
Kids and they're 100% of the future of our world. Mm-hmm. What kind of challenges are they facing in this world that are maybe like slowing down I don't want to say slowing down their progress, but harming their development, harming their futures? Mm-hmm. I found that for the 2022-23 school year, 1 in 5 students ages 12 to 18 reported being bullied. When they expanded that out, they did an 83-country study, and that went to 1 in 3.
1 in 3, I mean, that means that's probably somebody that we know. Yeah. I mean, a good chance is somebody that we know. Yeah.
And those numbers are going the wrong way. And that 1 in 5, they're now saying is probably going to be more about 1 in 4 by the end of the year for this school year.
So it's getting worse.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. So more bad stuff.
More bad stuff's happening.
And see, here's the thing, and I guess I kind of want to tie this into some stuff that Pastor Ben talked about on Sunday. He made the statement. A lot of times we kind of can view the world two different ways. Well, one says, how come God allows so much bad stuff to happen to good people, right? And the other is, why do good things ever happen in this broken world? And Pastor Ben explained that if you hold the first view, there probably isn't going to be enough blessing and good that God is going to be able to bring into your life where you and God are going to be good. So how does that sit with you as you're sitting with these statistics, as you have your daughter in mind? And do you ask yourself that question? Why do bad things happen to good people? Do you ask yourself that question
A lot.
A lot?
A lot.
Tell me how that conversation goes between you and God. Because elephant in the room, right? Like, this is part of your story. Bad stuff happens.
It does.
And
It does.
I mean, right here you are in
Like I
the
said
wheelchair.
Sunday, I'm part of a minority group that
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't born into. You can join it at any time. You're somebody running a red light, somebody's texting while they're driving. Oops, I slipped on a stairway. I wiped out on my bike. A medical diagnosis. Like, any point in time, you could just end up with a different life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the population with disabilities is about, like, if I'm remembering my statistics from last time, is about 1/8 of the population and growing, right? Again, because of exactly what you said, one moment, one bad decision, one accident, one illness, whatever, and all of a sudden you're part of this, this community that you might not have wanted to be part of, but here you are, right? So you ask that question, right? Why do
Why do bad things happen?
Why do bad things happen?
How fast it happens, and how it's a lot of times it's not really in your control.
Mm-hmm.
I got there from riding a dirt bike and doing stupid stuff on a dirt bike, so maybe there was a little bit of control that I had, but it wasn't like I woke up one morning and said, "Today's the day. I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. I'm gonna get myself paralyzed."
It's funny. I never knew what had happened to you, but hearing that on Saturday, I chuckled internally because, please do not be offended when I say this, because what I'm about to say is maybe a little bit offensive.
Yeah.
What happened to you is what I say when I was younger, I used to say that happened to me, and that's why I walk like that.
You said that you were in a dirt bike accident?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a quad. It was usually, I jumped a quad over a berm trying to do a Superman backflip and just came down on top of me.
My former doubles partner was a not a double, he was a single amputee. And there was one time we were out and somebody had kids and they had noticed that he didn't have a leg. And the kid asked him how that happened, and he said it was because he didn't eat his vegetables when I was about your age. And the kid was just terrified, but we thought it was funny at the time.
Oh boy. But so, why does God allow bad stuff to happen? How have you answered that? This happened, what did you say, 23?
I was 20, it was 23 years ago.
23 years ago? So over the years, how have you answered that question? How have you handled that internally or externally or whatever you needed to do?
At first, I just kind of blew it off and was like, yeah, whatever. I don't even want to answer that because I didn't have an answer. It was just like, I don't know. Yeah. But as I've grown more, I think a lot of, some bad things actually happen for God to have a tool to build his kingdom. I've started to, in the last, 15, 20 years now, it's a conversation. It's like an icebreaker. I can tell people like, oh, well, this happened because I was stupid on a dirt bike. But,
or you didn't eat your vegetables.
Yeah, I didn't eat my vegetables.
I guess that'll get the conversation going.
Yeah, I told one person that my wife worked with that it was because I didn't hang the Christmas tree lights or the Christmas lights on the roof right, and she pushed me off. And,
you told me your wife pushed you off the roof?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of her coworkers. She was like, what happened? And I'm like, oh, I didn't hang the Christmas tree lights. And, the wife said, not for that. And off the roof I went.
I guess it's your story. You can tell it however you want, right?
For a brief second, she actually believed me, so that was kind of, like, that was kind of funny. But no, I think that he gives it to us as a tool that he hopes that we will use to build his kingdom and to bear witness to the greatness that he can offer.
Now, you probably didn't think that right away.
Oh, no, I didn't think that right away, but I never thought that it'd happen.
Okay.
Like you said, it can happen, but it's not going to happen to me.
No.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't wake up and decide that. People don't wake up and decide to get cancer. People don't wake up and decide to have a heart attack.
Well, it's interesting, just, kind of tying back into what you were sharing a minute ago, right? We don't wake up and make these decisions that lead us into pretty dark places, right? You're clicking on the internet or something, right? You don't wake up, but then all of a sudden something like sin can take you a lot farther than you anticipated or expected or planned. But I'm not linking what happened to you to sin or anything. But I'm just saying it's that it could never happen to me
Until it did.
Until it did, right? I never thought it would go that far. I never thought I would end up here. I never thought it would be me. I never thought I'd be another statistic, right? And then it happened, and then. So, but it took you a while. What was that process, right? To get to that point where you can look on at what happened and you see it as a tool, as an opportunity. How did you get there? Couldn't have been easy to get there.
No, it was pretty messy to get there. But I started to get counseling, and I met a great counselor. And she was telling me that, she said, if you really want to find direction, purpose, reason in life, got a book for you. I thought it was going to be a self-help book. I'm like, oh, here we go. Somebody else got a self-help book.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a Bible. And she said the greatest thing about this book is that you can open it up anywhere and find sense in it and find reason. If you take any book off a shelf, go into a library and just open up a book to whatever page and read that page, and then the next day take that same book and just open it to a different page, somewhere completely different in it, and read it, you're not going to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Bible does. So I thought, okay, I got nothing to lose. I'll try it. And that's where I started to go, oh, okay. There is something bigger. Yeah, the dots started connecting. It wasn't just like a light switch where it was just like, oh, okay, all of life makes sense now. But it was like, oh, okay, there's some reasoning behind this. Oh, okay, so, maybe I could use this and apply it to my life and my situation and go, oh, okay, and find something good in it.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you saying you initially started opening up to the book of Proverbs.
That was the first book that I actually read from chapter 1 to chapter 31.
Oh, okay. And how was that different as you were just opening up reading, but then you kind of, switch gears and put a little more dedication into it, a little more.
I went and I just, one night I was like, okay, I'm going to open it up, and whatever book it opens up to, I'm going to go back to the beginning and just read that book all the way through. And I just kind of plopped it open, and that was the book that it wasn't like I had any idea of what I was getting into or what I was going to read, or like, oh, okay, I want to learn about this. What's a good book to learn? It just happened to be that one.
Just randomly.
It just randomly happened to be that one that was all about wisdom, and I was like, oh, huh.
Yeah, I mean, right at the beginning, what is it, chapter 3? Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. That was one I memorized a little early on in New King James, if you don't recognize. So, but I mean it's just interesting, right? As I'm sure you turn to the Bible for direction, for reason, for purpose, and there we are in the book of Proverbs, and it's kind of giving you exactly that, right? It's giving you direction. It's giving you, who to focus on, right? Because wisdom's, God is like, kind of personified as wisdom, and so it's kind of giving you who to focus on and that sort of thing.
And it's odd because the second time that I did that, the book that it flopped open to was Job, which was all about suffering. So it was like, okay.
You're like, this book really speaks to me.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, he wrote this all for me or what?
Right. Well, yeah. Well, and Job's an interesting case too, because that's like a lot of bad advice with a couple of a couple of bad things at the beginning and end, but a lot of just from a certain point of view, sort of advice. So, what did you gather from the book of Job the first time you read it?
The one part, and I'm not good at memorizing chapter, verse, scripture, actual, like to recite it. But the one thing that sticks out from Job for me is, I think it's 36:15, where he says that in all of, something to the extent of, in all of your suffering, know that it's nothing compared to the feast that I have prepared for you. So it's like, oh, okay, so there is actually purpose to it. There's, it's temporary. It's not going to be a forever thing, and it will get better. Maybe not in this life, but
Yeah, the bummer is Job never got that reason.
Yeah, well.
I mean, so that's an interesting question too, right? Because Job. I mean, we all got the reason because we kind of read the behind the scenes, right? But Job never had access to that information. He never knew what God, the exchange between God and Satan, and the testing that was going on, and that sort. He never had access necessarily to that information. I mean, how does that sit with you as bad stuff happens and we immediately ask why? And I mean, we don't always get a satisfying answer.
We don't. I think, like even if you go back to Job, God didn't cause Job's suffering. The devil caused Job's suffering. Mm-hmm. So the fact of suffering being in the world and all of the pain that we go through in life, sin, I don't think it doesn't disprove the existence of God. It proves the existence of the devil. It proves the existence of sin breaking down the world. But I don't think it disproves anything about God and his loyalty to us. And that's what we have to stay focused on, is where God's goodness lies. Mm-hmm. The brokenness doesn't come from him. He didn't break it.
That's a good point. It's a good point. He didn't break it. His intentions for us are good, right? He wants to be with us, and it's sin that causes that separation and brokenness. And yeah, but his intentions towards us is still to draw us close. But again, right, the bad stuff complicates that. It kind of makes it hard. I mean, you're looking back realizing God was using it as a tool in your life, but that's after years and then searching and I mean, so what kind of advice would you have for someone who's maybe not as far along in that process as you are? Maybe somebody who the bad stuff is current and just hitting them, or it's getting worse. I mean, how would you advise them with, in hindsight?
In hindsight, the best advice that I would have to them is to seek counseling. Not necessarily with a psychiatrist or anything like that, but even if they find a church. Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean, and it would vary kind of depending on what's causing their suffering. If it's something physical, then working with their doctors, maybe some different types of physical therapy. If it's an addiction, maybe you need to change your friend group. Mm-hmm. but you got to take action on it, and you got to get out, and you got to seek a better path than what you're currently walking.
So, and you've had that help. You've had people kind of interject. You I remember you talking about your one friend who just kind of, what do you say to you?
Either clean it up or you're going to die.
Yeah, he was pretty straight up with you, right? And I guess we need to maybe be seeking those kind of friends that are just gonna
And be that type of friend.
be that type of friend. That's good.
You know,
advice.
if we see somebody that is suffering, walk alongside them.
Jake, what are you hearing here?
What am I hearing?
Yeah.
I have
What do you have
tinnitus
for?
really bad, so all that I really hear is me.
I'm just hearing a very different side of the coin than what my experience has been. You know, yeah, if you ask me something like, okay, well, why do bad things happening? Why does God let bad things happen to good people? Or do you ever get? In my experience, it's been, do you get mad at God for how He's made you? And like with Justin, there's this area where it's like you've had kind of both experiences. So, like in my head, there's reason for you to be kind of like feel that tension. For me, this is just like how I exist, and it seems kind of pointless to be mad at God for how I exist, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
I can be mad at other people for how they treat me within that existence, but being mad at God for that just kind of seems like old man shouting at cloud. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear. I don't know that I've talked to many people that have become disabled in that sort of capacity. It might just be a thing that's just the community I exist in. It might just be I come from a very bubble community. So,
Gotcha.
Now, see, I played tennis with a guy that had spina bifida. He had never walked a day in his life. And one time we were at a tennis tournament, we were sitting around afterwards and kind of having a little team party thing. And he and I were talking, and we started to get pretty close. And he says, you know, I wonder which one of us has it worse. Me, because I've never walked, so I didn't lose anything. Or you, who lost all of this. And we both kind of pointed at each other like, well, you've got it worse. And we're, well, what do you mean? I've got it worse than you.
it's kind of that thing, you don't know what you're missing if you never had it.
And that's what he's like, well, I've never walked. So to me, I never lost anything. I'm like, yeah, but I look at it and go like, man, at least I got to.
One thing that you said on Sunday, and I don't know if you're planning on talking about this, but one thing that caught me, and it's interesting just how short the time frame has to be for society to start to forget this, is you said that, you know, based on Nazis' criteria of a person, you and I would both fall into the you are not good enough stock, you die, and neither one of us are Jewish. So I think society often filters that as it was just Jewish people, society at large. There are these micro differences in everybody that we can focus on and make huge, make bigger than they are. But, you know, I don't know where I was going with that.
It is interesting because that was only 80 years ago. That was 2 generations ago.
It's crazy.
It was like my grandparents' generation where that was the thing, right? And on Sunday you shared the statistics. Since then, it's not like we've learned that lesson.
No.
There's been 89 other occurrences.
89 other occurrences.
You know, and there's 2 that are currently like in the news, right? You know, Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, and then there's the ones we don't like to talk about that have been going on for decades, like in Sudan and stuff.
I do think it's very hard for us because as Americans, we are very separated from where that seems to happen a lot, I guess. Or like we hear about stuff, but it's always over there or down there or somewhere else. We don't hear about the stuff like what you were talking about with your research. We don't hear about the stuff that's right there.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the, you know, bad stuff only happens to other people.
Americans are exceptional. We're all above board.
Well, and it's a you know, and that's why I appreciated when my friend told me just because it doesn't happen to you doesn't mean it doesn't happen, and that's what's again kind of awkward and upsetting about these statistics and this conversation. It's like, well, this stuff doesn't happen to me, and so it's hard to talk about. That's why I appreciate like the you know, just raising the awareness, you know, and connecting the dot, and ultimately like putting a face to the conversation, right? Like this stuff could happen to me. It could happen to my friends, you know.
It can happen to anybody.
And it's just and that's scary and it's awkward, but it's also, you know, just something that we have to take in, right? As we're living in a broken world, and we're living in a world where God allows bad things to happen, and as Christians we have to you know, kind of be able to navigate that, because this is the stuff that's on people's minds, right? It doesn't take too long talking to somebody when they start talking about the bad stuff in their life, and if they know you're a Christian, you know, that's where the questions come. Well, how could God allow, or if God is so good, and all of these they're hard to answer, and I'm sitting here saying they're hard to answer. I don't have an answer. I don't have a good answer.
No, no. I mean, like, in all that we have is guesses at it, and like I said Sunday, you know, there's times that like I put God's voice as like foghorn, leghorn, or whatever. You know, boy, I say, boy, you better straighten up. But I think that there's points where some of the suffering, like we look to God and we want Him to clean it up. And maybe, and there again, I don't have the answers, but maybe He's looking at it going, you know what? The world's broken because of your guys' sin. You clean up your own mess.
There's also that space where, as a person with a disability, maybe you can resonate with this a little bit. Just there's this space where as I was growing in my younger days, I did this thing where I expected other people to clean my disability up for me, or like empathy was a struggle because it was like someone would come and be like, "Oh, I'm just like you. My foot hurts." And I'm like, "Oh, please tell me more, please."
I had a coworker that the building that I was in was 3 stories. There was a lot of different, I think there was 7 different stairways in it. And they would be running up and down stairs all day. And she came by once, and she was kind of one of those like whine about everything. And you kind of get sick of it. Like, find something positive to say. Just one day, one thing. And she came by and she's like, "Oh, my feet are killing me from running up and down those stairs." And I looked at her and I went, "Oh, poor you. You can feel your feet."
You can feel your feet. Yeah.
That must hurt
The
so bad.
look on her face, though, was like, "Did you get it?"
I remember one time I was complaining about a bad haircut to 3 or 4 of my bald coworkers. I was like, "Man, I can't believe this haircut I got," and they're just looking at me like.
Yeah.
One guy goes, "I really don't understand your problem." Right, we're empathy, right? We're clueless, and to connect back to what Justin was saying, like maybe we have a responsibility in this, right? Maybe we can do something about this, make a difference in somebody's life. You know, we know the gospel makes the difference. We know that God makes the difference.
I mean,
and
before I say what I'm going to say, please understand that I'm saying this from the perspective of it's not person being unempathetic, not just a person being unempathetic towards a person with a special need, and like that person on a special need is sitting in a chair looking down on them. It's also like it's on the person with the special need to also have empathy for the situation that they don't understand what you're going through, and to be patient and gentle with that, because you're not going to get anywhere if you take that attitude of, "Oh, really, you feel bad?" Like, you can in a moment, but then also as Christians, per the gospel, we should be the most empathetic people, like to a default.
Yeah. And maybe you should have offered her a ride up the stairs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay. Anyway. So I want to start to kind of turn the corner on this conversation because it can kind of it's kind of heavy. So when I'm on the podcast, this is my third time, I like to talk about sports.
Is it? I was just going to make a sports reference to that. It's his third time. 3 strikes, you're out.
3 strikes, I'm out.
I was gonna say, this is the end of your trilogy, Dan. You better make it
It's
good.
over.
My trilogy.
Like Revenge of the Jedi, good.
Right, Revenge of the Jedi, good. All right, so now it's time for the huge Dan Mauric sports segment. All right, so it's hunting season, right? It's hunting season.
Yeah, I don't hunt.
You don't hunt?
I don't, which is a huge firearms enthusiast in shooting sports, but I don't hunt.
You don't hunt. Do you hunt, Jake?
I have shot one deer in my life. I shot my dad's bow, and it sent a pain up through my arm. So I have not.
No hunting. Okay, it's also college football season, right? You guys into college football?
I can get with that a little bit more.
All right. So my big question: would you rather hunt a wolverine or a Spartan?
See, you're asking me if I would rather hunt an animal or a person. So I'm gonna say a Spartan.
A Spartan. I'm just saying it'd be awesome to combine the two sports, right? Combine hunting and college football.
Actually, no. Let me rephrase. I'd rather hunt a fighting Irishman.
Hunt a fighting Irishman.
I'm looking at you, Ben.
Buckeye.
We're looking at Ben.
I just saying.
Can we do both?
Yeah, hey, it's hunting season. We can,
Yeah.
I think we can hunt just about anything, right? All right.
Yeah.
As long as you got a
The greatest
license
game,
for it.
right?
Yeah. Did you ever read that in high school? Is it called The Most Dangerous Game? That whacked out story that teachers make you read? Oh, man. That's
in that big book of literature that does actually have some very important literature to like the history of like literature itself, but like it's got so much in it that I don't remember hardly anything in it.
Just the traumatic stories that the weird 10th grade teachers made you read. And then talk about. Yeah, but anyway, okay. So Jared, would you rather hunt a wolverine or a Spartan?
Oh, Wolverine.
Okay, Jared would rather hunt a wolverine. Do you need a license to hunt wolverines?
They're
I don't
probably
think you can
endangered.
actually. Yeah, I was going to say I don't think you can actually hunt wolverines.
So-
Also,
They're
I
very
would be scared to
dangerous.
hunt one because they are actually kind of vicious.
From what I've heard, they're
Well,
not just
I mean,
kind of vicious.
like-
they're real vicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I seen that one game where the Spartans lost to the Persians.
Well, if you've watched them this year, that's pretty much every
Spartans
year
lost
for
to the
football.
Persians.
Yeah,
It's called the 300, isn't it?
yeah, that was a great game. Just a bummer of an ending, kind of an upset. But anyway, enough about sports. Okay, now I also like to take a moment to talk about something other than the main topic, right? Because like I've said in the past episodes, like the main topic doesn't define you, it doesn't define us. There's more to the story than this, more to your story than the stuff we're talking about. So
Quote myself, he likes to be endeared to his audience.
I like to quote myself. I like to be endeared to my audience. So this time, because you're both musicians, I think we're gonna have a music round. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right. And
I feel like we have very different sides of that spectrum here.
Well, I mean, music's music.
I don't know. I'm pretty
Spartan,
vast
Wolverine,
on
whatever,
the
music's music.
It's a good thing you're sitting in the middle then, because I know he likes death metal.
Death metal.
I do,
You
but
do.
ironically enough, it's
All right. Well, the music round. What I'm going to do is I got 3 questions. I think
all right.
3 questions.
Is
And
it
you have
like
to-
a speed round?
Yeah, you have to answer right off the top of your head. There's no overthinking or overanalyzing. I'll give you a chance for that on the 3rd question. Okay, so the first 2, you just top of your head. Justin, you're going to go first. Okay, all right. Best guitar: Fender Stratocaster or Gibson Les Paul?
Les Paul.
Jake, Fender. Okay,
Absolutely.
all right. Question 2. Jake's first on this one. Best guitar player ever?
Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton. Best guitar player ever?
Can't pick one.
Can't pick one.
John Mayer would
Too
be
many
up there.
different.
Pick your
too
favorite
many
one.
different genres.
Best glam rock guitar.
Glam rock.
Oh
guitar.
man, that might make it harder.
Most underrated out of them, probably Mick Mars.
Mick Mars, okay. Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Is it Mike Ronson? Ronson?
Mick
Bowie.
Ronson.
It's Bowie.
Yeah, Bowie's was Mick Ronson.
No,
Yep.
no, okay. That's who you'd pick for best guitar player ever?
Bowie.
Okay, all right.
Glam rock.
All right, excellent. All right. Here's the third question. Justin, you're first on this one, and Jake, you'll have a minute to think about this. All right. Should Anthrax be in the big four of metal, or should it be Testament?
Testament.
Why or why not?
Oh, I don't know though. I say Testament because they're like musicianship. They're way better.
I
But-
mean, Alex Skolnick's no
and
joke.
oh, Alex Skolnick is no joke at all. Alex Skolnick is terrifying. I actually saw them on the Slayer farewell tour, and Anthrax followed Testament, and it was really hard to be like which one of them's better. Showmanship wise, Anthrax,
No, okay.
but musicianship wise, Testament.
All right, Jake. Big four of metal.
The Eagles, Bob
The
Dylan,
Eagles, Bob Dylan. Oh boy. All right.
the Eagles, Bob Dylan, Eric Clapton, and Bo Duran.
Motorhead. They
Motorhead.
could
Is
play too,
that what
though,
you
'cause-
said?
Oh, Motorhead's just the band you play when you want to upset your neighbors.
No, that's Cannibal Corpse.
Well, sure.
I will admit that the closest I typically get to metal is Shinedown, and that's not even that close.
That's
So-
not close.
Pretty heavy.
That's not heavy.
What's the Christian metal band? August Burns Red. I don't
August
know.
Burns Red.
Is Skillet considered metal?
I would say.
That's
I saw
probably-
them at a
Yeah, I
music
would-
festival and they surprised me. That was the first time I
They're-
really listened to them. They
They're
put on
heavier than
quite a show.
people
Yeah.
think that they
Yeah,
are.
They
you
were
know,
okay. I ignored them when they first come out. I seen
Well,
them a couple of years ago.
They
and-
kind of give off this aura of teenage band.
yeah. They
Yeah,
still kind
well,
of
that's
do.
because the bass player / singer guy is like way too pretty to be in a metal band. He's got like that perfectly groomed beard.
Is he the guy with the beard
Yeah,
and
the
the cowboy
black
hat now?
beard
And they've
and-
gone all like
yeah.
American tribute sort of thing.
Yeah.
They just put out a cover of "O Come Emmanuel." Apparently, it's pretty good. I haven't listened to it yet, but
He says it's heavy, but
Yeah.
my heavy scale is like
it's not Shinedown heavy.
you know.
All right, so we got to turn the corner in this conversation. Because we're just talking about the bad stuff, right? The bad stuff, the bad statistics. It could never happen to me until it does, and the stuff we don't want to talk about. But we gotta find some hope in the middle of the bad stuff. And I guess, Justin, where did you find hope in your story? You start reading the Bible, you're reading the book of Proverbs. Where did you turn the corner?
Kind of going back to that, like God saying, clean up your own messes. When I started cleaning up my own messes.
Maybe taking a degree of
For
responsibility.
a purpose other than me. Like once I started to do things because I don't want to be the guy that I want to be anymore. I want to be the guy that God wants me to be. And once my mindset started to shift to that, that's when the bad started to be less than the good. It's a choice. You choose to see positive around you. Yes, there's still the negative, but you got to kind of tune out some of that noise and go, okay, that's bad, but.
Jake, where do you find hope on an ongoing basis?
Well, I mean, going off of what you said, if you look back to when I started taking responsibility of my faith and of myself, I would say right around 2012 when I was mid-20s, and my brain solidified, and that makes sense. It's also funny because Ben and I were just talking about this for our Christmas series. I don't know if any of you know, my sister-in-law just lost her battle with depression a couple months ago, and that has been a question that has come up repeatedly. And as I look across my life and that specifically, I find hope in like, how do I say this without sounding super arrogant? I see the hope that I have been offered in the past paying dividends in the way that I am able to offer things to people moving forward.
I like that a lot. I don't think that sounds arrogant at all.
No.
I think that's just like living in the promises of God, right? Like,
Yeah. Well,
that's awesome.
for example, like what I was talking about with Ben, I now find hope in the way that I was able to be present for my wife when this happened. And I do not believe that I would have been able to be that person had I not been made to be that person from back in when I took responsibility for my faith.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're just seeing, you're reaping what you sow, right? We usually use that in a negative sense, but in this case, it's a
Well, and
positive.
it's also such a great gift because typically you don't get to see that.
That's
You don't
true.
get to see the dividends. You don't get to see an end point or a reason, I might never get to see an ultimate reason why I was born this way. And it might end up just being that it was a random thing. But what I can offer people in the midst of that is far greater than any reason for this could ever be.
Let me ask you both a hard question. Do you feel that God owes you an answer for the why you were born that way, why the accident happens? Justin, why don't you answer that first? Do you feel he owes you a reason?
No.
Did you ever, early on, did you feel
Oh,
that
yeah.
way? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And how
And
did
I
you
didn't
work through
go
that?
to the point, like some people will go and something like that would happen to them and it would push them away from and be like, okay, I'm not going to believe in God anymore because this happened, he didn't save me from it, so therefore he's not real. I went to the taunting side of, okay, if you're so good and great, explain this to me.
And you just got crickets, didn't you?
Yep. And that's where I say, like, sometimes I think we ask him questions and he's like, no, I'm not going to give you the answer. Like, you need to go out and work to find it. I'll help guide your path, but you need to do the work. An alcoholic that goes to the bar every night and orders booze and then looks at it and goes, well, I'm praying to God to get me sober, but it's not happening. Well, no, because you're not doing the work. You got to put the work in.
That makes sense. Jake, how would you answer that? I mean, do you think God?
Could you repeat the question for
Do
me?
you think God owes you an answer?
No. I think I see the answer he wants me to give, or he wants to give me. I mean, yeah, there are a lot of things that are unexplained about. For example, I think I talked about this the last time we talked about it. My mom would probably like an answer. But me, no, I don't think he owes me anything.
And I think it's okay for people to think that, right? To think that
Yeah, definitely in
I
moments.
I think God's big enough to handle that, right? He's big enough to handle the questions, the anger, the disappointment that maybe that's something your mom's
But-
facing or whatever, and
Would knowing the answer change the outcome? Like, if God sat down and said, okay, this is why I let the accident happen, it's not going to take it away. So what good's the answer?
Even beyond that, like, what does it matter if you're not going to get to know the answer until eternity, and by the time you get to eternity, it's not going to matter anymore. So-
exactly. Like,
what if the answer is not helpful? I shared this one time when I was teaching through the book of Job because people were still trying to get to that answer and explain why God allowed this stuff to happen to Job, and the answer kept being like, well, but Job didn't know that. It's like, we know that. We can say that because we know that. Job didn't have access to that. And I finally asked, I go, what if the answer to Job was, God said, because I wanted to? Like, would that be helpful? If
Yeah.
God,
Well, and-
because I wanted to.
Here's a thing that I like to think about sometimes, and you can tell me if it's heretical. You're the preacher of the three of us.
I mean, you can also edit this if we get way off track. I mean, you might need to
It's not too off track.
You might need to edit some of the music round. Anyway, so.
An interesting question for me to think about is, because I was born this way, because I've always been this way, what if I get to heaven and I'm still like this? Like, what if this is actively the way I was made to be? What if this isn't really broken in the way that we consider it broken? Does it matter? Does my physical body like matter in that capacity? Or what if it is? What if this is just the way I was made to do what I needed to do to further God's kingdom? And like that's a hard thing to grapple with, I think, for people, because you always hear when you get to heaven, everything is healed, all pain is gone. Well, what if I'm just this, but without pain? What if I'm just this without my sinful thoughts, without... I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that.
Well, and it's interesting too, because a lot of times when we get to heaven, we're just saying what we want or what we want for somebody else or what makes us comfortable. I'll say to you, when you get to heaven, you'll be better because that makes me comfortable to be around disability.
But like then you're defining what better is for me.
Right.
So,
but I'm defining it in context of what makes me comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, what's awesome is like the promise of heaven isn't that things will like be better and fixed. It's that corruption will put on incorruption, right? We will become incorruptible, not necessarily like fixed in the way we think. We're going to be incorruptible.
here's another question that's kind of off topic. So you're right. I might edit it out. Based on the Heaven is a Place on Earth book, if you've ever read it by
I'm just
Whitmer.
thinking of that song now that's stuck in my head, right? Yeah, that one.
Oh.
Everybody's got an earworm
So,
now.
so is heaven meant to be the place that fixes everything, or is that the new earth?
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying when I was talking about like 1 Corinthians 15, saying that the change that we're going to experience is moving from corruptible to incorruptible, not from better to worse in a way we understand it, or
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
and then so then beyond that, when people get to heaven, are they going to be surprised when like it's not what they thought it was, because that is still coming?
I hope we're going to be surprised when we get to heaven, because I hope it's going to be better than what I can come up with, right?
I would have to imagine.
Yeah.
You get up there and you're like, really?
Oh man.
I still got this
I was
thing.
going to say, Justin gets up there and be like, what is this, like soldered to my
I'm in
body
heaven,
now?
I can walk now. Whoops,
Oh,
guess
maybe,
not.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, maybe heaven's like some like snow tires or something, right?
I got to do that. Thanks for the reminder.
Just trying to help. But I think these are great questions. I think these are just interesting things to wonder about. I think it's safe and okay and healthy to wonder about these things, because ultimately, we can look to God and we can know that He has our best intention in mind, and that ultimately whatever His plan is going to be good. And it's going to be good in ways we may or may not understand, or we may or may not be able to articulate or appreciate until we get there. I like to think things will be better than we can imagine eventually. But yeah, but here we are on Earth with the bad stuff, and I think somebody pointed it out on Sunday, and it was kind of. They said, yeah, but you still have the chair, right? Like it's not going away. And you went on to explain that your physical condition is actually getting worse because of what you have to do. Yeah. Like your arms and shoulders are acting like feet and ankles, and they're not made for that. So I mean, you have that ahead of you. It's getting worse. Where do you find hope in that? Yeah.
It's life. I mean,
It's life with
it's
God,
not
right?
pleasant, but
Isn't it amazing though that He gave us bodies that can adapt like that?
yeah. I mean, you hear about people that like lose their vision, and all of a sudden their sense of smell and their hearing is like way amplified. That's pretty adaptable. Or they lose their hearing and their vision and everything. You lose one sense and the other's just kind of compensate.
Compensate, yeah. Yeah, so we want the final word here, Justin, before Jake wraps us up.
No, just, not letting yourselves get defined by whatever suffering you have. I mean, I'm not just a guy in a wheelchair. You're not just a guy with CP. Like husbands, musicians. I've got Sydney, and you just got to find those positives and be like, okay, I'm not going to be defined by this bad thing. Like I'm going to find positives, and sometimes it happens naturally, and sometimes you got to be proactive and go out and be like, okay, I'm feeling down here. I got to find something. I got to, what's something that I can find? Oh, hey, here's something.
Yeah, okay. Jake, you want to wrap us up?
All right. Is that everything you wanted to?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing you wanted me to ask you guys. So, how does not being defined by what we're saying here, suffering, and any of the bad things that we see, not letting ourselves be defined by our suffering or any of the bad things we see happen to us or to our loved ones or to anything around us, help us to become that one house?
You want to go first, or
I'll let you go
All
first on that one.
Well, I think we can become that one house for each other, for those in our community by like, let's just talk about it, right? Let's talk about the hard stuff. Let's normalize the conversation. Let's not be intimidated by the suffering or the bad stuff. Let's be okay with each other's differences. That's been kind of my theme on the 3 podcasts I've been on, is God makes us different, right? We seen that in the first podcast with just different families with disability. We talked to our friends who are single, and we just got to acknowledge that we're different, and that these are things to be excited about, to be challenged by, to learn from each other, but also like, let's just talk about it. Let's normalize being different, and let's become a house that embraces our differences, and that it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to joke about it. You guys have been accommodating me. I'm just the token able-bodied guy on the show, right? So
Look at you walking around all homo erectus.
So, oh my gosh, we're one of those adaptation scales, aren't we?
Yeah.
You, me, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
The decline of
The decline of man. or
Western
whatever, yeah.
civilization, or whatever
Wow.
that movie was
Okay.
called.
But I think it's okay, right? It's okay to talk about these things, and
I think it's okay to ask questions too. Like I said, we're not, on some throne looking down
Yeah.
at you because you did not put an elevator in this church 50 years ago when blah 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 blah. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was much lower numbers then, or well,
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like Dan and I had talked about when one of our meetings that we had, I said, I'm a pretty open book. Like, there's not too much. I mean, and some of it kind of depends on the level of knowing somebody, but there's really not too much that it's like, if you came up and asked me a question, I'd probably be like, oh, okay, let me, I'll answer that. There's lines that can be crossed, but for the most part, most people aren't going to come up and ask you those questions.
Yeah.
I mean, well, how do you drive?
With hands.
Poorly. How do you think this happened?
No, well, at least the weight to get the stuff in your car to drive is poorly.
Yeah.
I had to buy my wife a new car, which means I had to go to Clock or had to call Clock.
No, you guys probably both go to the same Clock. Is that where you get your
Yeah,
gear to?
I'm guessing you have the same stuff in your car to drive that I do. The right angle thing. And,
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, steering knob. And
I'm missing out, right? I don't.
It really is a lot of fun. I don't know why it's so much more fun to drive like that.
I can't imagine.
But actually, Dad, I do want to thank you. You starting these conversations has started the ball rolling. I like because you had your conversation, our conversation, where we showed your video initially, and I think within a week or two, Paul had painted space.
Yeah, he actually stopped by my house. We were outside, and he stopped by, and he was like, "Hey, I just want you to know, we painted those stripes." I was like, "Oh wow, you were on that,
Yeah.
Johnny on the spot, man."
Yeah, and we appreciate that. I mean, I appreciate that. It doesn't matter to me as much as it matters to Justin, but I genuinely appreciate that.
Well, a lot of it is you don't know what you don't know, and once you know, then do better, right? And we'll figure it out. That's part of being one house too, is just learning together, and I think that's what's helpful about the conversation, asking the questions, and I think we're learning that together, and we can only be better in the long run because of it. So I appreciate the property team being patient with me, and I'd ask them to please quit following me in the parking lot. But like I said, Paul, don't touch my stuff. I don't want it hidden in a room that I didn't know exists. But
I also want to thank you again. I know I've been doing that a lot, but these conversations have started the people in my sphere have realized, oh, we don't want you walking downstairs for the podcast. So now we're working on this.
We're not downstairs, This is
and
great.
I'm really appreciative. I'm appreciative of the property team for letting me paint this room. Well, letting me let Aaron paint this room.
Yeah.
Great job, Aaron, by the way. I know you're watching.
I dig the pink. I think we could use a disco ball in here, though, honestly.
I'm scared if I hang anything of any real substantive weight, it will just fall out of the ceiling. Because that room over there, it's the same light fixture. And we started screwing it into the wall. It just started. And I was like, oh no.
Oh boy.
This could be a mess.
That's great. Well, thanks, Jake, for letting me hijack your podcast.
No problem.
So-
Anybody got any closing thoughts, or do we go through that?
That's all my thoughts.
All right. Well, thank you for watching this week's episode of the Coming That One House podcast. I believe this is going up on November 21st.
Cool.
I believe. So that's this Friday. Yes, that is this Friday. We are going to be coming back at you for the last week of Genesis. That's going to be me and Ben and Josh again, probably. And then we're going to kick off our Advent podcast series, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I don't have any of the contact cards with me right up here. This is, so if you have any questions, you've seen me hold up those connect cards. Flip it over, write your questions on there. If you want to write your name on it, go right ahead. But if you submit questions via that method, we will not use your name. The podcast is completely anonymous, again, if you submit questions in that method. Other than that, have a great weekend, and we'll see you Sunday.